Hello and welcome to a Basketball Pantheon video. I'm Adam Johnson. Just me today. Going to break down Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. Awesome game. Absolutely loved it. Golden State took it 108-100 in overtime. I'm going to kind of do this Game of Thrones style. For those of you who have not read those books, or I haven't read the books, or seen the television show, they kind of follow around a character for a certain amount of time. Let's say like for this segment, it's going to be the Arya plot line. For this segment, it's going to be the Jamie plot line. And we're going to kind of go through like each player that played in tonight's game, and I'm going to give kind of brief thoughts on the guys who didn't play a ton, and then obviously the big name, the stars and stuff. I'll kind of go a little deeper on. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the Warriors. Harrison Barnes. Thought he was solid. Obviously, hit that huge three in overtime to make it 105-98, which kind of sealed the game. Thought he played 39 minutes, really good defensively, helped out in the rebounds, especially when they went small for a couple different stretches there, and it finished with 6 rebounds for the game. Thought he was just solid. Didn't nothing spectacular. Kind of as he has been the entire playoffs. Really huge for this team. Just adds versatility that a lot of teams would crave a player like that on their team. I thought Draymond Green was not too great tonight. Good defensively. Didn't get on the boards too much. I know Jeff Van Gundy got him at one point when he hadn't had a rebound yet, and that was like late in the second quarter. And I thought he was right there. Finished 4 of 13, had a couple drives and took some kind of odd shots, a couple just kind of floating things up with his left hand, and just weren't good shots. Didn't really finish too well around the rim, and was 0 of 3 from 3. So yeah, not the strongest game from Draymond Green. Andrew Bogut again, yeah, not very good for him either. Actually, was the only Warrior in the game that posted a minus on the plus minus, which is kind of amazing. But yeah, he was a -6 for the night. Timofey Mozgov just dominated him. Yeah, not too strong of a game from Andrew Bogut. Klay Thompson, pretty good. Went 3 of 9 from 3, 8 of 8 from the line. Did a good job of getting to the free throw line. Shot the most free throws of anybody else on the Warriors. Played nearly 39 minutes. Finished 5 of 14. Didn't shoot too well, but did hit a massive 3 to make it 90-91. LeBron had just scored on the other end for Cleveland, and Klay Thompson kind of came down, early in the shot clock, just kind of kick ahead pass. He caught and just drilled a 3 to cut the lead to 1 when it looked like Cleveland had a real chance to kind of put a stranglehold on the game. Kept Golden State in it, so that was a massive shot. Those are kind of the kind of shots that people remember, the game winners and things like that. But those are the shots that kind of keep the game in the balance. Thought that was a huge one. Steph Curry, the MVP, 2 of 6 from 3, 10 of 20 from the field. Played pretty well. Had 26 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Did have 4 turnovers. But yeah, I thought he was really, really good. Hit a huge pull-up late in the game. Obviously got blocked by Kyrie Irving on that last play when he kind of nice play drawn up by Curry. Ended up getting Steph Curry what looked like it was going to be a wide open layup. Some people, I guess you could say, like, oh, an MVP doesn't make that kind of play. I guess allow himself to get blocked, I guess, is the criticism. But I thought that was just kind of a great play by Kyrie Irving. Maybe he could have gone for a dunk there, but that's not totally his game. So tough to blame him. I thought Steph was really good. First finals game, tons and tons of pressure on him at home. Really felt like this is one the Warriors should get. This game 1 set the tone for the series. I thought he did a really good job. Andre Iguodala off the bench. First guy off the bench for the Warriors. Played nearly 32 minutes. Was 6 of 8 from the field, 15 points. Was excellent. An awesome game from Andre Iguodala. I thought he was the second best Warrior tonight behind Steph Curry. Huge defensive plays on LeBron. Really did probably by far the best job of guarding him of the 3 guys who kind of saw the majority of the time, the other 2 being Harrison Barnes and Draymond Green. He's giving up about 40 pounds to 50 pounds maybe to LeBron and a couple of inches, but did a really good job of just being prepared. I guess maybe his game plan, his preparation leading into the series was clearly pretty good because he really took away a lot of the things LeBron wanted to do and forced him into kind of tough fadeaways from the post area. I thought he was awesome. Shaun Livingston, pretty solid off the bench. The last 4 bench guys that played for Golden State, Shaun Livingston, Festus Ezeli, Leandro Barbosa, and Maurice Spates, none of them had great games of notes. It was nice to see Maurice Spates back. Did go 4 of 8 from the field. Hit a couple jumpers off of pick and pops when they would double Curry. That was kind of cool to see that kind of combination come back and for him to have some success hitting shots. Justin Holiday, David Lee, and James Michael McAdoo all received did not play coach's decisions, which that was bound to happen. Golden State Ended up playing 10 guys, which is, again, still awesome for the finals. So be able to play 10 guys at least 8 minutes. That's pretty cool. Festus Ezeli started the overtime for Golden State, and Kerr said after the game that was literally just to try to win the tip, and then they immediately sent Harrison Barnes to the scores table, but there wasn't a stoppage in play for about a minute and 43 seconds, if I remember correctly, and so then Harrison Barnes came back in for Ezeli there, and that's when Golden State went with a small ball down the stretch to finish the game, which that lineup was incredible defensively in overtime. I thought the Warriors' defense in overtime was outstanding. Festus Ezeli was good when he was in as well as part of that unit. So cool to see. The only guy who really Draymond wasn't great, like I said earlier, but I thought Leandro Barbosa was terrible in this game. He had a stretch early in the second quarter where he just was out of control. A couple just wild shots, a very odd turnover where he kind of threw this weird in-between pass to Harrison Barnes that just ended up going out of bounds. Very confusing play there, and then committed a weird loose ball foul after a missed layup. It was just not a good cameo from Leandro Barbosa. Did finish 1 of 4 from the field, didn't make a 3. So yeah, he was probably the worst Warrior on the night, and really I think his minutes should maybe be doled out to more from Livingston and maybe more from Klay Thompson. I don't know. I mean, Klay Thompson already played 39 minutes, so it's going to be tough to get him any more in the game. But overall, the Warriors, I thought, played well, especially in the, down the stretch there in the second half, and then obviously in the overtime they were fantastic. But when you look at their box score, it's like, how did this game even go to overtime? Like I said, there was only one player that was a minus in the plus-minus, which it's hard to just take that from a single box score. That's not like the greatest stat in the world to go off of, but I don't know. It's just strange when you look at that. They out-rebounded Cleveland, which is a surprise, by 3. Same amount of turnovers, which that was kind of an Achilles heel maybe for Golden State going into the series. Like maybe they'll turn the ball over, too much, and Cleveland can pay for that. But they ended up both having 12 turnovers, so kind of strange there. They shot 20 of 22 from the line for 91%. I mean, that's phenomenal. 10 of 27 for 3 as opposed to 9 of 31 from Cleveland. So yeah, it's kind of like every single battle it did seem like Golden State won, which I guess maybe is why they eventually won the game, but they were a shot away from losing. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Cleveland, the team that was a shot away from taking game 1. LeBron James, the guy we'll start with. Spend some time on him. 44 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Yeah, I mean, pretty outrageous stat line. Did go 18 of 38 from the field. A lot of attempts for LeBron. That's a lot more than he, obviously normally shoots. I thought he was absolutely brilliant for long stretches of this game. People can kind of get on him, I guess, just for missing the last shot, and then in overtime, just looked totally exhausted. Had Curry kind of ripped him on that double team. Really nice play by Steph Curry, spoke it away, and then Iguodala eventually picking it up. And then also just a couple settles I thought from 3. Just pulled up in the shot clock maybe a little bit too early, kind of contested threes when he had so much success in the post. His post game is awesome. I mean, it's moved into kind of the older versions of Jordan territory where there's a lot of fadeaways and kind of like mid post type things that he's clearly worked on. He broke out a floater 2 or 3 times and hit a couple of them, and I thought there's just he had a very varied shot selection tonight, and I was really impressed, and hit a huge 3 in regulation to tie the game at one point, and I thought it was brilliant. I think people are going to get on him, I guess, for missing last shot and that type of thing, and I guess there's just not really ever going to be a time where he's going to do enough in his career to satisfy everyone, which is fine. I used to kind of do this thing where I like to defend great players, and it's not like I'm a LeBron guy or this guy or a Jordan guy. I don't think we should have to choose. I mean, these guys are great players. They're going to make mistakes. I watched 2 games of Michael Jordan this morning, doing some research and watching them with some other people, and I mean, he's making plenty of mistakes. There's a couple, just terrible passes that Jordan threw. There's a couple, he erred a shot at one point in one of the games I was watching, and it's just I think people have these selective memories, these guys never made mistakes, and I don't know. The last time I checked, 44, 8, and 6 in Game 1 of the Finals against the best team in the NBA, at probably the toughest place to play in the NBA, is not a bad stat line to have. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's, I guess, just he's never going to satisfy, which I don't even know why I continue to talk about it. So let's just go ahead and move on to Tristan Thompson, who actually played the most minutes of anyone of the 2 teams tonight. Played just over 47 minutes. Had 15 boards, 6 offensive, which that was a big worry I think for most people who were picking Golden State in this series. Was Tristan Thompson probably will kill them on the boards, and he did tonight. He was amazing. I mean, his typical relentless self. Thompson would be a blast to play with. Only 2 points, did go 1 of 4. Didn't really have much of a chance to finish around the rim. Did not get to the free throw line. So maybe that's something they can look more for in game 2. Maybe getting him a couple of lobs, or getting him just like maybe some duck ins or something on a pick and roll. Maybe he can get going a little bit and kind of keep himself fueled. I don't know, but the other front court partner, Timofey Mozgov, was outstanding in this game. 5 of 10 from the field, 16 points, 7 boards. I thought he totally dominated Andrew Bogut, and he had a couple of finishes off of pick and rolls, or lobs that were just like absolute like facials on guys. It was as Marv would say, serving up a facial, Marv Albert, but he was awesome, just finishing, and he'll take these kind of 1-2 steps from like maybe the kind of dotted line area, and it's just, I mean, he's just hammering dunks home, and that was like pretty awesome to see. Played 33 minutes, really good at the rim, defending the rim for Cleveland. Thought he had just an awesome game. It was really, really cool to see. Iman Shumpert, the next guy we're going to talk about, played 34 minutes. He actually started the game on Steph Curry, which is, I think, what a lot of people thought was going to happen, and did a decent job at containing him on some screens, and then got lost a few times, and then actually tried to stay, I thought, a little bit too tight at times, and kind of ignored maybe some kind of team action, and then because he was so tight, he would kind of die on a few screens. I thought the Golden State did a good job of setting screens for Curry today, even on plays where he wasn't getting a shot. They actually just kind of forced Shumpert to work like his tail off trying to chase Steph Curry, that's the point. I mean that's probably why Shumpert is guarding him and not LeBron the entire game, because it'd be way too exhausting to expect LeBron to kind of run the entire offense and defend Curry. So I thought Shumpert was fine, at least guarding him. No one's going to stop him, but I thought he did a decent job. Did hit a couple of threes. Those were the only 2 field goals he made. Only points he had in the game were 2 threes. And then honestly, the last shot LeBron took at the end of regulation, that kind of catch tip that he had almost went in, which would have been an unbelievable shot if that would have actually gone in at the buzzer, and to win the game for Cleveland. That would have been kind of one of the most famous final shots ever, I think. That would have actually gone. So let's quickly go through the Cleveland bench. Matthew Dellavedova played only 9 minutes. Did not score. Didn't even attempt a field goal. Was a -13. Just not good from him. James Jones was a -11 for the game. Committed 4 fouls in 17 minutes. Took 1 3. Did miss that. So he had very, very little from the bench. The other guy was J.R. Smith, who was 3 of 10 from 3, hit all 3 of his threes in the first half, and in the second half really, really cost Cleveland. There's a few times, there's one pass Kyrie Irving had in particular that I thought was a brilliant, brilliant find, kind of a cross-court pass to J.R. Smith, like I think it was about the left wing, just couldn't buy a shot. Rattled out, would have been a huge, huge 3 for Cleveland. Couldn't get that to go. Had a couple strange plays in overtime, and just was really, really poor down the stretch, and at a time when Cleveland really needed a third guy to score with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. So that leads us to the last guy that we're going to talk about tonight, Kyrie Irving. Big thing is he looks like he may be done for the series. I hate to speculate. He's going to get an MRI tomorrow, but most people were saying most of the writers I follow on Twitter who were at the game are saying he's having a hard time walking 12 feet from the locker room to the med room where they're going to do some work on him. And that's not a good sign. He left the game on crutches. Really not good. I mean, we do have till Sunday, so maybe an extra day does something for him. But if there's anything structurally wrong, there's no reason he should play the rest of the series, and that would be absolutely tragic because he was outstanding in this game. 10 of 22 from the field, finished with 23 points. He looked kind of at least close to his old self with kind of the herky-jerky crossovers, the in-and-out moves that he was trying to get to the rim. Did a great job finishing with his left hand. Again, it was just really, really good tonight, and it was so good to see a second scorer help out Cleveland. So really hope he gets better. But overall, great win for the Warriors. They're up 1-0. That felt like one Cleveland should have had, but couldn't quite get it. So we're going to have Game 2 Sunday night in Oakland. Can't wait for that one. We will do something similar maybe to this, or maybe we'll have a couple of us on to talk about that game. But I guess, just before we go, kind of give you overall thoughts on the game. Just a couple kind of random things I noticed. Klay Thompson did a decent job, I thought, early in the game helping out on the boards. I think one of the Golden State guards, or I guess maybe small forwards, Harrison Barnes or something like this, Andre Iguodala, is going to have to help out on Thompson and Mozgov when those two bigs are in for Cleveland. And I thought Thompson early on, it looked like he was making a concerted effort to be that one guy. Because they're not going to send all five guys. I mean, Cleveland doesn't crash with all five guys, so there's no reason to send all five guys to help out rebound. That kind of takes away one of their advantages and kicking it back the other way and getting Steph Curry going in transition. So for that to be Thompson to help out, I thought that made a little bit of sense. And he did a decent job in the first half, tailed off a little bit in the second half. But I guess look for that and maybe see which of those, who's going to be the third Warrior that's really going to help out in the two bigs and boxing them out as we move forward. For Cleveland, it's just going to be, they got to hit shots. They're going to have to hit open threes. LeBron found guys for a few. Kyrie Irving found guys for a few. And the random James Jones, especially if Kyrie Irving's out, the random James Jones, three-pointer game is going to happen. J.R. Smith is obviously now going to have one of those explosion games. Shumpert's got to stay consistent. They just don't have enough weapons, especially if Kyrie's out. LeBron's not going to score 44 a game in this finals. And honestly, to get that great of a performance from LeBron and still lose, that's got to be disheartening for Cleveland. It felt like by the end of the game, it was like, wow, if this is how Cleveland's going to play pretty well and still lose, and Kyrie's out, it just felt like kind of like a death blow in just game one, which I'd hate to say that's the case, but that may be the case. So hopefully that's not. We'll find out more about Kyrie probably Friday, and then we'll kind of move forward with that. And we hope to see him out there on the court on Sunday, because if not, this series may be over even quicker than I predicted. So we'll see. And again, great win by the Warriors. Thoroughly enjoyed this game. I saw a couple people on Twitter were talking about is this one of the best game ones of all time? And the first two that came to mind were 97 when Jordan hits game winner after Karl Malone misses his two free throws. The kind of famous story is Karl Malone's stepping up to the free throw line. The game is tied, and Scottie Pippen walks by. The game was taking place on a Sunday. Scottie Pippen walks by and says, "Mailman doesn't deliver on Sundays," which is like the greatest trash talk of all time. Malone goes on to miss both free throws. Jordan goes down, nails a jumper at the buzzer. Pretty kind of classic Jordan there. And then just turns and just holds his fist out to the crowd, and very little celebration because he knew it was going in. So that was an awesome game one. And I thought about the Iverson step over game. A lot of people on Twitter were talking about that one. That's kind of like another classic, and it had a very similar feel to this one. Except I think that would have made more sense had Cleveland won, because Golden State being the favorite, like the Lakers were that year. It's like, oh man, this is the one Cleveland stole, away from home, and that ended up not happening. So tough one, to compare to that. But then I also thought about one that's I think somehow underrated, even though it was only 2 years ago. 2013 Finals Game 1, when Tony Parker kind of had that crazy rimming, hit three different parts of the rim and it dropped in to beat the Heat by, I believe it was by one, maybe two. I can't remember if the game was tied or not when he hit that shot, but that was an incredible game and what turned out to be an incredible series. It might get lost just because that Game 6 was so kind of epic when Ray Allen hit the three, but the Game 1 of that series was an excellent game as well. So those are the ones that kind of immediately came to mind that I was like, wow, you can kind of compare this one already to those. Awesome game. I got to watch most of the second half again before I did this video, and yeah, it held up on second viewing. So yeah, we're gonna kind of plan out some more stuff for the finals, but definitely be looking for more things like this. So yeah, can't think of anything else to talk about. So gonna go ahead and sign off again. Adam Johnson. Game 1 of the finals. Warriors win 108-100. Take a 1-0 series lead going into Game 2 Sunday night.